The first strange thing was the sound of footsteps. Not a random noise, not a sound from outside. Footsteps, slow, heavy, moving across the floor above them. A family sat inside their home, listening carefully, waiting for the sound to stop. But there was one problem. Nobody was upstairs. At least, nobody they could see. At first, they searched for normal explanations. Maybe it was the old wooden floors. Maybe it was the pipes inside the walls. Maybe it was a neighbor. Because nobody wants to believe that something impossible is happening inside their own home. People do not move into a new house expecting fear. They expect safety. They expect a place where their children can sleep peacefully. They expect walls that protect them from the outside world. But sometimes, the thing you are afraid of is not outside the house. Sometimes, the fear begins inside. This is the story of the Ammons family, a case that became one of the most controversial alleged haunting cases in modern American history. A story involving strange events, police reports, medical evaluations, religious investigators, and a question that still divides people today. Was this a real encounter with something supernatural? Or was there another explanation hidden beneath the fear? The story began in December of 2011 in Gary, Indiana. Latoya Ammons moved into a rental home with her 3 children and her mother. From the outside, the house looked completely normal. It was not an abandoned mansion. It was not a forgotten building in the middle of nowhere. It was simply a 2-story home on an ordinary street, a place where a family hoped to start a new chapter. Latoya was a mother. Her children were young. Like any parent, she wanted them to have a safe environment, a place where they could laugh, play, and grow up without fear. But shortly after moving in, the family said they began noticing strange things. At first, it was easy to ignore. Small sounds, unexplained movements, the feeling that someone was nearby when nobody was there. Most people would probably dismiss these things. Every house makes strange noises. Every building has sounds that are difficult to explain at night. A person can convince themselves that there is a logical reason. But according to the family, the strange events continued. They said they heard footsteps moving through empty rooms. They said they heard knocking sounds. They said they sometimes felt a presence around them. Then came one of the strangest details reported by the family. Flies. Large numbers of flies appearing around the home during the winter, a time when insects are usually far less active. To the family, it felt like another warning, another sign that something about the house was not normal. But the real fear began when the children became involved. Because when strange things happen to adults, people often question what they experienced. But when children become afraid, parents listen. The family said the children began describing things they could not understand. They claimed they saw dark figures. They said they felt watched. They became afraid of certain areas of the house. For Latoya, the situation became impossible to ignore. A home that was supposed to protect her children had become a place where they felt unsafe. Imagine walking through your own hallway at night, knowing your children are afraid of what might be waiting in the darkness. Imagine turning off the lights and wondering if you are truly alone. Eventually, Latoya and her family searched for help. They contacted people who believed the house might have a paranormal problem. Religious figures became involved. Investigators looked into the claims, and eventually, the police were called. But when officers first arrived, they were not looking for ghosts. They were responding to a family situation, a report, a concern, a call they had answered many times before. One of the officers who responded was Aaron Crawford. He entered the home expecting a normal investigation. But according to his later statements, what he experienced inside the house was unusual. He reported seeing things that he said he could not easily explain. The case became even stranger when other authorities became involved. Social workers visited. Medical professionals examined the family. Different people looked at the situation from different perspectives. Some believed the family was experiencing something paranormal. Others believed there could be psychological explanations. And this is what made the case so controversial. Because the events were not recorded as a simple ghost story, they became part of official discussions. People debated what was really happening inside that house. Was there something supernatural? Was the family experiencing extreme fear and stress? Were there environmental factors? Or was there another explanation that nobody had discovered? One of the most discussed moments in the case involved the children. According to reports, one of the children displayed unusual behavior during a medical evaluation. Witnesses described actions that they considered difficult to explain. The reports became widely discussed online and in the media. Some people saw them as evidence of something paranormal. Others believed there were medical or psychological reasons behind what happened. The debate continued, and that is exactly why the Ammons case became famous. Because unlike many ghost stories, this one involved more than rumors. It involved real people, a real family, a real house, and real authorities who had to decide what they believed. The house eventually became known across the internet as the Demon House. But the story did not end there. After months of attention, the property was sold. Later, the house was demolished. The physical building disappeared, but the story remained. Some people believe the house was truly affected by something supernatural. They point to the reports from the family, the statements from investigators, and the unusual experiences described by those involved. Others believe there are more ordinary explanations. They believe fear, stress, expectation, and psychological factors can create experiences that feel completely real. And perhaps that is what makes the story frightening, not knowing. Because uncertainty can be more disturbing than any answer. A monster can be understood. A ghost can be imagined. But something that exists somewhere between reality and belief, that is much harder to escape. The most terrifying part of the Ammons case is not the idea of something hiding in the darkness. It is the thought of losing trust in the place where you should feel safest. Your own home. The rooms where you sleep. The hallway you walk through every day. The basement you avoid at night. The ordinary places that suddenly feel different. Because fear does not always arrive with a scream. Sometimes it begins with a small sound. A footstep upstairs, a knock on a wall, a shadow that disappears when you look again. And slowly, the place you call home starts feeling unfamiliar. Years later, people still debate what really happened inside that house in Gary, Indiana. Some say it was a true haunting. Some say it was a case of fear and misunderstanding. But everyone agrees on one thing. Something happened that changed the lives of the people who were there. A mother saw her children afraid. A family searched for answers. Police officers walked into a house expecting one thing and walked out with questions. And maybe that is the reason this story continues to attract attention. Because the scariest stories are not always the ones with clear answers. Sometimes, the scariest stories are the ones that leave you asking, what if they were telling the truth? What if there was really something inside that house? Or, what if the human mind itself can create something just as terrifying? Because sometimes the darkest places are not abandoned buildings. They are not forests. They are not empty streets. Sometimes, the darkest place is a home where someone is afraid to turn off the lights.